Hello Bambinos, it's me, Rab here, and I am going to be today showing you how to use the basics of GitHub in Git. It's going to be really good fun. It's going to be from the command line interface. It might be a little bit complicated, but along the way I think it's going to be a good time. We'll start by making an SSH key, and then we're just going to create a repository on GitHub. We're going to push some information to it. We're going to check out some branches. It's going to be great fun. Finally, last thing, the first thing that you're going to see that's coming up in a moment is going to be git bash. That's the terminal that I use to generate the SSH key. Forgot to mention that later on. Git bash. Thank you very much and enjoy. So I'm going to assume you've already installed Git onto your PC. There's probably a multitude of different tutorials that you can follow out there if you want to. But we have to first of all generate an SSH key, right? And we do so using this command here. It's ssh-keygen-t, and it's just telling us what kind of encoding type it's going to be. Then the byte size /-b4096, and then we put whatever email we want our SSH key to be associated with in here. Then we just simply run the command. Now I've already created one, so it's going to ask me to overwrite it. But here you're just putting in the default. I'm going to overwrite it, won't ask you to do that. I'm going to put no passphrase in, and then lovely, it's going to generate this lovely SSH key for us. So then after that, we want to type in this command here, which is eval $, and then in parentheses ssh-agent s, and all that's going to do is set a ID for the agent. After this, forgive me, I am cheating, I've put all this in before, I couldn't remember it off by heart. Have no fear, I'll put all of these commands in the description. Then it's ssh-add, and then we're going to navigate to our SSH folder on our computer. If you haven't changed it, this should be the default. This is where you should be able to find it anyways. This is just going to add it to our machine. Lovely. And then, after we have done that, it's nice and simple. We just want to add this to our clipboard. So it's just going to take the SSH ID, the public ID for GitHub, so that we can add that into GitHub. So if I press that, and that's all we need. That'll do. So then, if I bring GitHub over here, okay, so you just go to the settings part of your GitHub, which is, I'm already in it, so it's not going to play ball, but either way, it's in here. You go to your settings, or we'll go from our profile actually. Start here. Or is it in this one? Yeah, sorry, it was probably there all along, I just didn't see it. Then to SSH and GPG keys, and we're going to add a new SSH key. Call it whatever you want, it's probably better to have something meaningful, and then paste what you've already put from the git bash terminal into there. Okay? And that's it, and we can add that SSH key. You're going to have to confirm your password. I think I spelled that wrong. No, we didn't. Lovely. And there we go. So now we've got our SSH key linked to our GitHub, which is going to make it a lot easier to clone repositories, push to repositories, so on and so forth. Okay, so now we'll go back to our profile, and we're going to make a new repository. So starting from here, this is my page obviously. If we go to repositories, and we're just going to make a new one. And let's just call it learning. So you can call this whatever you want. This is very simple stuff, but you can make a description for it, just to test. And then you've got the option to add readmes or git ignores. You may want to do that, but for the sake of this project, we're not going to. And we're going to create the repository. Lovely. So this is where the SSH key that we set up a moment ago is going to come into handy, because now we can just copy this key from here, which is also going to be available if you set up the README and the git ignore. It's going to be possible, but it's just going to be slightly further to the right. You're going to have to select it from the clone option. That's what it's going to say. Okay, so it's worth mentioning at this point, I alluded to cloning a repository a moment ago. It makes things slightly different if you want to clone a repository, because you're going to have to do it before you put anything into your project. Otherwise you're going to have a few problems. You're going to have to pull it. It makes it a little bit more complicated. So if you're going to add the README and the git ignore through GitHub, you're probably going to want to initialize an empty folder. Don't do this as you've started progressing. Just going to cause you a few little problems. I mean, you can do, but for the sake of making things easy. Okay, so now we're thinking, okay, so we've got a really simple application here. We've got index.html with hello world, the classic. So we might want to add it to Git. This isn't going to work. And the reason for this is because we need to initialize a local Git repository. So if we say git init, that's all we have to say. It's going to make an empty one for us. And from here, now we can start crafting versions. So we can say git add full stop. So that just means the current directory. So git add all. We could put index.html if we want to be specific, but we're just going to add everything inside of this repository using the full stop. Cool. So we've added it all, so now it's being staged into these changes, but that hasn't actually done all that much. We have to commit it in order to make it a version. So we can say git commit, and then a -m, you can consider that to be message, and then inside of quotations you can put whatever you want. The standard for your first commit is to put initial commit, so we're going to do that. And then we're going to close it off with an ending quotation mark. And now we've committed it. Brilliant. So now it's saved on our local machine. So we've got a version, which is really great. However, this is kind of helpful, not too helpful, because it's not available online. We have not linked it to our online repository yet. But that is where we are going, what we're going to do now. So we can say git remote add. Then we want to name whatever we want our remote to be called. Standard is origin. So we'll say...
This is a reminder. Suck Joe's dick.
My apologies. Someone used Alexa the other day to set a reminder through Discord for me. Great. So anyways, so we got as far as git remote add origin, which is the standard name, and then that's when we're going to put in our SSH key for the repository that we just made online. So that's going to give it a link so it knows where we're going to be trying to push it to a little bit later on. So we run that. Marvelous. And it has been added, right? I think we're going to have a problem, however, because recently they've changed the name of the main branch on GitHub, on the GitHub website to main, but locally it's still master. So if we check git status on branch master, we're going to have a problem, is the point. So here is where we can create a new branch. Creating a new branch is really helpful. You're also going to want to do this because you're going to want to have like development branches and production branches when you go a little bit further into making things. A main branch, generally speaking, is going to be code that works, whereas a development branch may be one that is, let's just say, less clean, less polished, in development. That's simple. So the way we do this is git checkout b, and then we can name whatever branch we want. So the first time we're making a branch, when we say -b, that is creating a new branch locally for us. Really handy. So naturally, we're going to do git checkout branch main. Beautiful. This has got everything that we've already committed. We've taken that with us. So now it's really simple. We're on the same branch as we are remotely. We've got everything already committed and added. Our SSH key is correct. So now it's just as simple as git push, and we just need to specify where we're going to be pushing it to, and that is origin, and it's going to be main. Now ain't that lovely? You gotta love it. Very, very nice. So if we now go back to our Git repository here, and if we refresh, how is that? There we go, our lovely index.html with hello world. Just beautiful, just beautiful. So now we're going to do a little bit of attempting to do a pull. So let's say we want to update our README here. We don't want to do it locally, and we just want to say my name is Rab. Lovely stuff. And we can commit that, just say pencil. Done. We can talk about Gitmojis maybe another time. A fantastic website. It is, I'll write it here, Gitmoji.com, I believe. It's fantastic. It allows you to make your commits just look a little bit more exciting. Oh, it's Gitmoji.dev. My apologies. So it's Gitmoji.dev. Yeah, so basically this pencil is going to return as an emoji. Lovely stuff, right? Okay, so now we've got our readme.md, learning just to test my name is Rab. Lovely. However, you will notice when we go back locally, it doesn't automatically update. So now we're out of sync. So if I tried to, for example, push something to it now, it's going to come back with a load of errors saying, oh, it's not up to date, so on and so forth. So we simply run the git pull origin main function. And there we go. The README has now been included locally into our local repository. Beautiful stuff. It's working exactly as we want it to. So once again, if we want to make another change, we can do a div of, let's just say, this is a div. Not the most complicated program. Once again, we can say, and actually, why not? We can add to this as well and say hello, just to show that everything's going to change. We can say git add full stop. That's everything in the current repository. Git commit, add a message to it with -m. And we're going to put a nice funky looking thing here as well. Ta-da. Second commit, why not? Lovely. And then just git push origin main. And once again, just beautifully, that's just going to automatically update for us on GitHub. And we can see that because we've got this new emoji and this new part in hello. And if we check index.html, this is a div. Have a little look at changing to like a development branch. I said that you might want to have a development branch. So once again, we can do git branch b develop. Why didn't that happen? Clear on. Oh yeah, that's my own fault. Because you haven't created it already, you want to say git checkout, because you're checking out the current branch to develop. My mistake there. Okay, so we've got our new branch develop that we're on right now, and if we check git status just shows you the current state of like where you're at. Nothing to commit on branch develop. Brilliant. But let's say we do want to commit something. Let's say that we want to commit another h1, and this one can just be what's up. So once again, same process. I'm just going to speed through it this time. Oh yeah, so good push origin develop. Worth mentioning, it is going to automatically create this branch for you remotely, which is really nice. As long as you check out and create it in the local repository, it's going to know, oh, he wants to make a new branch of develop. So yeah, git push origin develop, whatever the name of the branch that you're currently on is, it's going to push that to GitHub for you. But if we have a look now on GitHub, you can see we've got a develop branch as an extra one, and you're going to see that it's in front of the main branch, right? Because we've only pushed it to the develop branch. Lovely stuff. So now we can go over here. It doesn't matter if you're on main or if you're on develop, and you can merge the two things if you're happy with them. So let's just say we're really happy with this what's up that we've added into the index.html. We can leave a comment. If you have more people on a subject, or on a project, sorry, you might have more than one person assessing it. You might want to leave a comment saying added what's up. Then they can review it, but obviously it's just us at the moment. Then you'll create a pull request. So if you have the ability to, you might be able to merge it, but in a bigger project, once again, you might want other people to assess it before you do merge it. Lovely stuff. Once again, you can write something here saying, great. You can comment that, and then everyone can see it. Merge the pull request. Confirm the merge. And once again, if we go back to our learning repository, and we can see main, it's up to date. Lovely stuff. So I think that's about all for now. I hope that this was helpful in some way, shape or form. It's just a very basic introduction into GitHub and Git. Best of luck doing it for yourselves, and thank you very much for watching. See you, Bambinos.